This is all your fault. I take no responsibility for this. This is in response to a comment I got about saying I'm like Merlin. Yeah, I like that. That's nice. The ego likes it. I find it music, and I am likes it. But I need to take it a step further. How about, and I mean, the makeup department are really happy with this because they get a night off. How about I present to you Merlin Gates? So let me start off by saying that I think you can tell by the dramatic musical intros and the CGI screen behind me that I know nothing about computers, but I do see a window of opportunity with this. So how am I doing so far? See, what I propose now is that, well, it is my intention that I can reduce the amount of Walking Dead by up to 80%, which we can do by removing the sin of the vacuum, the veil, by pricking as many Christ consciousness and trying to awaken people as best we can. So how's that? Now, something else very interesting, we talk about this reality being a duality, but do you know that there is a duality within the duality? For example, if you were living in northern Scotland or northern parts of Canada or probably Siberia and many other places, your perception is going to be very different from someone who lives in somewhere, say, like Sheffield or New York, for example. You see, you are all living in a city, whether you can see it or not. It's called scarcity. And it's funny, as I was sort of thinking about this, what comes into the mind, and it's like, I mean, it's now 20 past 3 to me, but 20 past 2 on the clock in the morning, and it's like, you ain't sleeping until you've created this video. So anyway, I'm a bit worried about being typecast, but I suppose it is better than being typecast as something like president or prime minister. At least I get to write my own scripts, don't I? It gives me a certain autonomy and freedom, and it's actually great. And especially when you realise the joke of all of this reality. But New York was very interesting because it just started, and it's a wonderful song I'm going to interpret for you. Pay attention to these sort of almost clock-like piano chords in the song, because it's sort of referencing time. The song is called New York Morning by a group called Elbow. So I've done timestamps for this. So the opening, I thought, let's have a look if there's a lyric version, make it easier. And yeah, there is. So the first to put a simple truth in words binds the world in a feeling all familiar. So I'm just going to explain that. Well, that familiar feeling is when you're in the system-programmed comfort zone. The simple truth in words. Well, the problem is, by putting it in words, words can be changed. Never more so than in this electronic age. Unless you take a screenshot of something, how do you know that it's been changed unless you specifically remember it word for word and notice every detail? Anyway, back to the song. Because everybody owns the great ideas, and it feels like there's a big one round the corner. Well, it's sort of referencing the truth community in many ways. Everybody's got the answers. Where are we now? Well, let's go on to the next line. There we go. Antenna up and out into New York. Somewhere in all that talk is all the answers. And oh my giddy aunts, New York can talk. It's the modern Rome, and folk are nice to Yoko. Antenna up and out into New York. There's a lot of business, a lot of distractions. Somewhere in that talk is all the answer. Yeah, it's that silver thread that exists in everything. Like, that song wasn't written specifically for this, was it? Probably the inspiration for whoever wrote the song in Elbow, because I think they attribute it to the group collectively, not to individual songwriters, or they collaborate. It's subjective to what is the idea, but I'm just giving you an interpretation on it. Anyway, so where are we? 124 we need to go to now. The next line. Every bone of rivet steel, each cornerstone and angle, Jenga jut and rusted water tower, pillar, postage sign, every painted line and battered laddered building in this town sing a life of proud endeavour and the best that man can be. Maybe, in the material sense, all huddled together, all busy, that saying about a New York minute only being a second, I think it refers to, if I remember rightly. I did ask someone about that because I'd heard the saying. So we go on to the next lines here. Where are we? There we go. Me, I see a city and I hear a million voices, planning, drilling, welding, carrying their fingers to the nub. In other words, working themselves to the bone. Reaching down into the ground, stretching up into the sky. Why? Because they can, they did, and do. So you and I can live now. It's not together, it's to get her. It's referring to that divine feminine. It's about trapping you in this metaphorical city of scarcity. Stealing that soul connection. It's unnaturally living together, if you think about it, in a city when you're all stacked on top of each other in what I call human flypapers. Grenfell Towers comes to mind. So moving on, well, we've got an instrumental bit and then we're going on to the next part of the song. Where are we? Here we are. Excuse my ramblings. Yes, then we go on to the chorus again. Oh my God, New York can talk. Somewhere in all that talk is all the answers. Everybody owns the great ideas and it feels like there's a big one round the corner. Again, interpreted that one. Now, it repeats that chorus, but then you get the sort of counter-refrain. This is very interesting. This is prophetic. The desire in the Patchwork Symphony. The desire like a distant storm. For love did it call for me. Because it feels like there's a big one round the corner. Well, that I think in this sense is now referring to the astrological signs that are being shown with what's going on at the moment. I mean, the desire in the Patchwork Symphony, the desire in this distant storm, it's referring, I think, to the pineal gland again. And then finally, at 4 minutes 25, I'll put the link for this lyric version of the song in the description. Some of you may like it, some of you may not. It's just explaining the message. Now, this is, if you think about what happened 19 years ago in New York, it's very telling. The way the day begins decides the shade of everything. But the way it ends depends on if you're home, going within, in the heart, heart-centered. The way it ends depends on whether you're home, whether you have found that the I am within you, basically. For every soul, a pillow at a window, please. So it is referring to every soul, from a place of love. So you want them to be the best they can. in the modern Rome where folk are nice to Yoko. Again, it's the two worlds, because the modern Rome, there's still the physical particle reality. Don't expect a end of age apocalypse and fireballs. It just ain't happening. It's not like that at all. It comes back to well, basically what you can do is something else. I was racking my brains about this earlier, thinking of what event can I use as an example. So sort of just, we're coming up to about a year ago. It's quite interesting. There was, I think it was, his name was Kobe Bryant, a basketball player, in the helicopter crash. I mean, it's a perfect example of this. I have no interest in sports in general. I don't watch any of the mainstream media. So the irony of this is the only reason I know about this is through watching things on truth channels. Otherwise, I'd be none the wiser. And then think about the attention I've given to that. It was a sort of a walk away one fairly quick when you got all the things with the dates and all the, but with all of these things, all these events, just ask yourself this: do you know that person personally? Have you ever met them? Are you likely to? Do you know that any of that story is to be true? Where is the source of that? What is the source of that information? And can you verify any of it? And more importantly, how really does that affect you? And if you apply that to anything external, let's put this in another way. And now some of you will maybe instantly put off by the biblical interpretation that Neville Goddard gives. But if there is one thing, and he talks about proof in performance, and he talks about everybody goes through this fulfillment of scripture, and you play all the parts, all the characters. They're all states of mind. Well, let me assure you something, and I am talking from personal testimony here, because I've done it for more than 50 years, but it's expressed as the Exodus as wandering around the desert for 40 years. Well, what do you think truth-seeking is? I would say right from my earliest thoughts, something never felt right. And look how long it's taken. And I might as well have walked across the Antarctic for all it's actually done for me. It's all it's told me over and over again is everything is a lie. That's the joke of it all. See, because I started off as a baby, and now look at me, chuckling away, laughing all day, hair now turned grey. I see I'm playing the laughing gnome as well, because, well, the answer has been there. It's so apparent that it's so easy to miss. Well, if you're a truth seeker, well, you're seeking, are you not? Seek and ye shall find. Well, seeking will rise above it, walk above the waters. Allegorically speaking, don't feel the fear. See that you've got this spiritual war, but it's not, as most people would think of it, it's the battle between the external screen and what's being offered to you. You don't have to take those scripts. So yeah, I mean, I won't want to be typecast into Pope or President or anything like that. That's awful. And the very lack of freedom. And then what if in one of these theatres I get to play a Kobe part and then I get killed off, and probably not even dead, I'm probably just somewhere else. And I mean, what are the chances that any of these celebrities, that I'd ever meet them to even know if they are really dead? This is the thing, just ask yourself this: how much of any of it do you know to be true? Because it's all one great big illusion on the screen. And it's all to get our attention. You see, it isn't what people call the asleep. They're just nice to go along with whatever. The problem is, which is shown astrologically with all these wonderful changes that are ongoing. And it does feel at the worst part at the moment, but it's not. Again, because it's all illusion. You don't have to feel any of that. You don't have to feel the fear at all. Feel the love instead. That's down to you. You just create a new world order within yourself, and then you won't be in the fear states. You can move states. You don't need a passport for that one. You're in total control of it. It's within your universe. And don't think it's just some sort of mumbo-jumbo, happy-clappy tambourine stuff, because it manifests into this reality. It is proven. Just look at any lecture by Dr. Joe Dispenza. Look at the double-slit experiment. Light photons react totally different depending on if they're observed or not. And it's basically saying, where attention goes, the energy flows. So look at anything you want, but just keep in mind that you're bringing that into your world. Whatever you focus on, because you are projecting out on that screen. If you focus on the things you don't want, remember your energy is like a magnet. What do you think you're going to draw towards you? That's a sort of aspect of the law of attraction, you could say, because just think about what you are bringing towards you. What do you want to bring towards you is the question. You know the answer to that. I mean, like I said, it's like a fairground ride. You can go around again if you want. That's entirely up to you. You don't even have to stay in the fairground, really. There's a huge, great big park out there to see with beautiful landscape. And get away from all the noise and the lights. And horrid. No, thank you. While we're on the subject, this whole thing with Tataria and has been featured recently with Turkmenistan. Well, if that's Tataria, you can keep it. No, thank you. The overall feeling I get from that is something that's so unnatural and so clinical. Yeah, I don't mind the idea of the free atmospheric electricity, and let's just transfer it across so we don't have to look at the damn structures. Because to me that just looks like somewhere like Milton Keynes, one of these planned out grid cities. And then if you look at most cities, they are all planned out grids. I'd rather have something where I'm more in nature. This whole Anastasia Kindermain idea is far more attractive to me, where I'm actually in a natural environment as it's intended to be, not regimentally planted trees and all in a dead straight line. And notice it's dead straight as well. No, thank you. That's my thoughts on it, and regardless of what it's called and the whole blanket conception of it being wonderful, yeah, I can take that part of it. That's all I need to take out of it. But the focus is on the future to the now, not the past to the now, because you want Sodom and Gomorrah type scenes to manifest in this reality. I don't think that's a very good choice, personally. But each to their own, you know. So, but yeah, we'll just carry on. We'll play this Merlin Gates character and just go with that intent. I've publicly stated it, so you can't say I haven't said it. And thank you for the wonderful comments. I managed to sort of catch up. But this is another sort of... Well, they're all impromptu videos, really, aren't they? They're not sort of scripted or planned as such. They just come as and when. But my job is done. I can rest now. The mind will allow me to sleep, which I know from past experience. If there's a spiritual download come through, it becomes a torture because it just keeps coming and coming. And it's like, okay. And this is what it's all about. It's surrendering the personality that is all part of this illusion and realizing that you're just a personified I am that is working through you. And you are part of it. You are the vehicle of it. You're not separate from it, but you are also separate from it because we're in duality. You're a personified aspect that has gone through a tick. There's been a preset menu and have a scene, and it's like, right, we'll have this one in a male body, we'll put it in this time period, we'll set it in this location, we give it this life, and that's how it is. And you just play out the part. It's a world stage. Might as well enjoy it. It's good fun. It really is. It's can be anything you want it to be, and it's just up to you how you feel about it inside. Get that right, it'll all just fall into place, I would say. So I shall say ta-ta for now, and aloha.